Third Reich was building. It seemed that Europe was still headed toward another massive conflict. Winston Churchill warned, "Do not suppose this is the end. This is only the beginning of the reckoning." The world was on edge that Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. As announcer, Dan Seymour started the weekly radio broadcast of the Mercury Theater across the airwaves.
The Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. Ladies and gentlemen, the director of the Mercury Theater and star of these broadcasts, Orson Welles.
When Orson Welles took the microphone, he was a young man on the edge of greatness, already wearing the title of Boy Genius, a part of Roosevelt's New Deal WPA. But this was not just any play. It was a version of Macbeth set in Haiti, with voodoo witch doctors substituted for the three witches in the play. Drums and chanting echoed throughout the scenes. What's more, Welles and Houseman used a group of amateur African-American actors who had never played any classical roles and had them doing Shakespeare.
Bring it on, Bell! Oh, Lynn! Come, Rush! At least we'll die with hammers on our backs. What's he that was not born a woman? Such a one am I, fear or none.
Let me find him fortune. Tyrant, show thy face. I cannot strike a wretched turns whose arms are higher to bear their stairs.
Thou losest labor. I bear a charmed life which must not yield to one of woman born.
It was an outrageous idea, but it worked. Voodoo Macbeth played to a packed house and was dubbed the play that electrified Harlem. Welles' meteoric directing career had been launched. In 1937, Orson again worked with the federal WPA, this time on a short film with music and narration titled We Work Again. The 15-minute picture was a morale booster, touting the agency's accomplishments for African Americans.
Only a few years ago, we were a discouraged people because we were the first to lose our jobs when Old Man Depression came along and the last to get them back. We struggled vainly to regain our bearings while depression, fear, and failure stalked the nation. A tenth of the population of the United States, we formed as a race over a sixth of the unemployed. 1 out of every 4 of us was on relief. In vain, we sought for something to restore our confidence, our hope, our courage. Without jobs, we had no money. And without money, we could not purchase food for the hungry at home. Our only hope lay in charity. Hunger drove our people to the bread lines. Anxiously, we waited for some sign of better days. Then came the federal government's work program. One by one, it took us out of the bread line. It gave us a new chance to take a normal place in the life of our community. It made us self-supporting. It changed the haggard, hopeless faces of the bread line into faces filled with hope and happiness, for now we work again.
At 36 seconds into the Sunday night Mercury Theater broadcast, Welles took the mic and, in his most dramatic voice, set the tone for the historic hour that would follow.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's, minds that are to our minds as ours are to the beasts in the jungle, regarded this earth with envious eyes and slowly and surely drew their plans against us. In the 39th year of the 20th century came the Great Disillusionment. It was near the end of October. Business was better. The war scare was over. More men were back at work. Sales were picking up. On this particular evening, October 30th, The Crosley service estimated that 32 million people were listening in on radios. We take you now to the Meridian Room in the Hotel Park Plaza in downtown New York, where you will be entertained by the music of Raymond Raquello and his orchestra.
For those who listened to the program from the beginning, it should have been quite clear that it was a dramatization of a science fiction work, The War of the Worlds. But millions actually tuned in a few minutes late and would have missed the opening announcement. Host Don Amici introduced the show.
This is Don Amici, rounding up the Chase and Sanborn gang and greeting you for all of them. A hearty hello from Nelson Eddy, Dorothy Lamour, Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy, Robert Armbruster, and Judy Canova with Annie and Zeke.
The huge listening audience enjoyed the first few minutes of the show with some of the well-loved antics of Bergen and McCarthy.
You see, I was hoping that I and you could start to kind of get together like, you know. I started to like you.
Yes. They were immediately lulled into believing that they were listening to an evening of musical entertainment. They had no way of knowing that when actor William Allen stepped up to the mic and greeted them, he was in the CBS studio. They firmly believed instead that the voice belonged to the announcer in the Hotel Park Plaza Meridian Room.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. With the touch of the Spanish, Raymond Raquello leads off with La Comparsita.
Now this is showing you how you can mass hypnotize the whole United States, really, or just on the radio. They didn't know that this was a play because half of them, or most of them, were not tuned in at the hour that it was announced that it was a play. They tuned in 10 or 15 minutes later, and when they did that, they thought they was listening to music. So if they could do this with radio, have people panicking, thinking flying saucers, Martians were invading the Earth, just think what they can do with television and movies. They can hypnotize a whole lot of people like that. Now you see how he used the black people, and you see that this was a time when Hitler was getting ready to wreak havoc, and the Jews was going through their thing. So I'm rushing through this. I'm briefly, running through this. I'm not showing you it's in its entirety, but I'm going to next video, the next time I come back to this series, we're going to finish out on it. I'm not going to finish it on this one, but I'm just setting it up to show you that on YouTube you can do the same thing. So it ain't my intentions to be educating you on our history, like going back. What I'm doing is I'm bringing the history of recent times, and I'm paralleling it with ancient times to show you how the Caucasian has advanced over us using our technology. We had all this before, but we were using organic and using it in a different way. This is synthetic, but what it's doing is keeping you asleep. It's keeping you focused off the real world, you know. That's why brothers, you know, watching football, basketball, and they became obsessed with it. That's why they on the Xboxes and messing with them games. They became obsessed with it. They're escaping really reality. And so they put a bunch of black agents on YouTube, you know, to keep you from thinking about uniting with your black self, and to sway you away from the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because his was the most real and true teachings of any black man that ever came before us. So that's why you got young Pharaoh. Brothers don't want to say that. They think he's just young and dumb. No, he's being backed. He's being paid to do that. That's why he have no fear of the Nation of Islam. He don't have no fear of them brothers, because they told young Pharaoh that he's going to be protected. That's how they do. That's their MO. That's why Malcolm didn't have no searching, you know, at the door when he got assassinated. Somebody told him that he wouldn't need security, you know. And you know who it was? It was the FBI, because they said they was going to secure for him, you know. And they do all brothers with a gift of gab, or has a charismatic personality, has a following. They're going to come to you. The FBI came, we seen the FBI came to Malcolm, we heard that. In one of my videos, you'll see that it came to Malcolm, and it was taped. They wanted you to think that Malcolm didn't, you know, refuse to cooperate. But he might have did that particular time, but they kept coming back. They didn't give up until they caught him in a weak moment, you know. And so the same thing goes on and on with these brothers. You can't partner up. You can't do business, get in no business involvement, partner up with them, because you want their money, the big money. Because if they give it to you, you're going to have to dance by their tune. And if you don't dance by their tune, you're going to get gone. So stay tuned, keep on watching. I hope y'all getting, you know, getting the message of what I'm trying to tell y'all.